Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm glad you're here this Monday morning. Got a great show lineup. Got a big week lineup here on Panhandle Outdoors. But first, let's take care of our weather for this Monday morning. It's going to be another nice one. It's going to be a high today of 82 and a low all the way down to 63. That's Chamber of Commerce weather. It looks good the next couple of days. Water temperature is hanging in there right around 70 degrees. It did level off and plateau out over the weekend like we talked about. Of course, our weather always brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. Take a look at our Monday moon phase brought to us by Sandhill Seafood. Hope you had a chance to get up there and get some fresh seafood recently, because it's a good place to get some really good fresh seafood. We're in a moon phase on Monday. We just had a full moon this past weekend. It was interesting how it affected the fishing. We'll talk about that later, but right now our moon is sort of waning on out, but it's still a lot of moonlight coming up. So it's got about 2 more weeks we'll be on a new moon, so be aware what the moon's doing. But this weekend now, the moon's going to be very, very good for some good fishing, and I promise you this week we're going to get some good pictures of some flounder being gigged, okay? Moving on to our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Got pretty decent tides today and all week long. A low tide this morning at 7:45 and a high tide at all the way tonight at 9:57. So looking at a marine forecast, be coming straight out of the south at about 5 to 10. So let's take our break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're going to do something I normally don't do. This is sort of a little short infomercial. Someone sent me a link on this, and I usually don't pay much attention to them because I get bombarded with stuff, and I appreciate y'all sending me all this stuff, but sometimes I don't really have time to dwell on it. But this one sort of hit me because it's sort of applicable to our area, and what it is a little snake trap and the humane way to catch snakes. Now, you know how we feel here as a responsible outdoorsman, and we try to teach the ethics of outdoors. You don't just go around killing indiscriminately. You just go around killing snakes and animals just because you like to do that kind of stuff. The only excuse to ever do anything like that is if you're out trying to take a deer, taking it for a trophy or meat, or if you got danger, some kind of rattlesnakes around the yard and all, that's dangerous. So it's okay to dispose of them then. But the rest of the time, you just go ahead and sort of trap them and move them out of the yard and all. So this guy has come up with this trap, and why you hadn't thought about this and why I hadn't thought about it, I don't know. But this would have been a good thing for Shark Tank. But anyway, we're going to play this. It's 2 minutes and 43 seconds. It's really fascinating. So I think you're going to like it here. So let's see what we got.
Hi, I'm Pete, and I'm here in the state of Florida. I'm here to demonstrate how easy the Critter Getter glue tube snake trap really is. The resident here has seen some black snakes traveling behind her garage and along the screen enclosure of her pool area. I'm here to demonstrate how to set up, trap, and remove these snakes. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to place this trap right along the slab here where the snake's been seen, and I'm just secure it by putting these stakes as far into the ground as I can using my thumbs. Okay, and that's all there is to it. Now we just sit back and wait. Well, it's been 2 days, but it looks like we got lucky. Let's see what we got. It looks like we've got about 2 4-foot black snakes. Now we'll show you how to remove them. Alrighty, as for removing and releasing them from the glue boards, it's as simple as just spraying vegetable oil over the snakes.
Okay. Okay. Now, isn't that a doggonest thing you've seen? Now, you know what's fascinating about it? Those are harmless snakes, and they're good snakes. They serve a purpose in our ecosystem. So you definitely don't want to kill those snakes. But I know if they're harassing you or your animal or something, and if my wife is actually, she is terrified of snakes and all. So we have a policy around the house. We try to get rid of them by I try to catch them in a 5-gallon bucket, but it's a lot easier. I just want to share that with you because I know a lot of y'all will be are in that same situation. I always think about those inventions, and I think about outdoor inventions. I had long before Shark Tank came out, which I love Shark Tank, I had my outdoor classes. One of their projects during the year was to come out with an outdoor invention, and I gave them most of the semester to think about it. And I had and they had to get in front of the room, and they didn't have to actually build it, but they had to come up with some kind of outdoor invention, and they could draw it on the board and explain it, or draw whole pictures of it. And I had some fascinating things that these kids come up with, and I told them they need to try to get a patent on some of them. So, you know, I would challenge you to do those kind of things, and that's a great idea there to get rid of those. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope you enjoyed it. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Talking about that little snake catcher, I'm fascinated with those kind of things. Because what a simple invention, and I can't get over how he markets it now, like an infomercial. I don't even know the guy, but I just thought y'all would enjoy that. So that's why I put that on there. I don't put a lot of that kind of stuff on here, but when y'all send me something like that, I appreciate it sending it to me. Let's take a look at a couple of things coming up now. Look, coming up from the Florida State Park System on Veterans Day. To thank all of you who have served and sacrificed, Florida State Parks is offering free entry to all visitors on Veterans Day, Saturday, November the 11th. That's this coming Saturday. You know, pack a picnic, celebrate this day with your loved ones, or take advantage of a 3-day weekend to take a camping trip. Okay, so Florida State Park System. Appreciate y'all doing that. We'll talk about all these bears in Florida. Well, how about bears in Alabama? I've talked to some of those folks up in Alabama, and it's just like we were maybe 10 years ago. Those bears are getting all over the place up there, and they're getting around. Of course, they don't have many feeders up there legally, but those bears are just all over the place, and especially in the South Alabama and Mobile area, around that, you know, they like that coastline. They, you know, through the Apalachicola National Forest, they moved over that way. We'll talk about bears a lot. So Alabama is doing the same kind of research we're doing too. Okay, now, got another video coming up. This is sort of concluding the one we did on Friday's show when we went out to the Bay County shooting range, and they did that sporting clays shoot as a fundraiser for the Second Chance recovery effort here. It was an all-volunteer group for folks with brain injuries, and it's really a great organization. We've had them on the show, we promoted them, and they did an outdoor activity as far as, you know, raising money, and it ran a lot of folks I knew out there. And basically, I got Tom Lewis here at the shooting range, who's a retired FWC officer who helps run the shooting range. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of score on him now. What you do, you shoot a big circle. It's very similar to playing a game of golf. And you just have shooting houses and have like a par, and they'll shoot like you get 4 targets, 4 sporting clays to shoot, and then you mark down the ones you make. So basically, you end up with 100 shots through the whole course. You shoot 100 times, and you just put an X on the scorecard. You put an X on how many, you know, if you hit it, you put an X on it. It's as simple as that. You write the score down when you leave the little shooting booth. And the highest score was, I believe, 64 out of 100, and which is a good, you know, good score. So I asked the guy on the video here, I said, now what did you shoot? He did a little practice round that morning. I said, what did you shoot? He shot a 93 out of 100. So that is really, really good shooting right there. So he's going to sort of explain to you what sporting clays is. And I was going to put this on Friday's show, but we just ran out of time on Friday. We only had a 2-minute fishing report, so I want to finish it up with this little interview with him. So Bob, let's roll this video. Okay, our guest now, folks, is really, we're going to let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Tom Lewis. I'm a range officer here at our Bay County shooting range. It's managed by Fish and Wildlife Commission. We've had this sporting clays course open for about 1.5 years, and our 5-stand open for almost 1 year now.
Okay, and you were telling me people from all over the world are coming now. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, we get from different tourists coming down from Nashville, from Tennessee, North Carolina, and we get a lot of groups. We had a large group from Kentucky that was here Monday. But we'll also get them from Germany, the Netherlands, and they'll Google what to do in this area, and our Bay County shooting range comes up. And so we've actually helped people shoot where they normally cannot shoot.
Well, tell us the difference between skeet shooting and trap shooting.
Okay. Well, there's different forms of clay shooting. I'll call it clay shooting.
Okay.
You have skeet and trap. Both of them are different, and it's very standardized. Trap, you have a trap house out in front of you. You usually stand 16 to 27 yards out, and the bird will go out in a 55-degree angle. Skeet, you have a high house and a low house, and you have a parabolic curve of 7 stations. And those are also very standardized. What we have is closer to hunting. This is called sporting clays.
Okay.
It's been around for 40 years or so, probably even longer than that. But each one is to replicate some type of hunting. This is certainly shooting sports, but they replicate. We have rabbits that'll bounce across the ground. We have incomers like with dove shoot. We have crossing birds. So we have a variety, and there's nothing standard with these except your imagination.
Well, I've been around the course. That's what fascinated me, the different angles they're coming in, like you say, from the ground up high, which it does replicate what's going to go on in outdoors.
It is, and as part of the Fish and Wildlife Commission, that's what we want to do, is have a variety that you would see if you're out actually hunting.
So you just make a big loop around here, and how many stations are there?
We have 18 stations. There's 2 throwers at each station. The lap is about 3/4 of a mile. And besides that, we also have a 5 stand where there's 5 stations. And right over here, you'll see our 5 stand. And at that, we have 8 throwers at our 5 stand.
Okay, and so people they bring their own gun and shells. What do they do?
People can use their own shotguns, their own shells, but we also rent shotguns, and we also sell ammo if people need ammo or shotguns.
Okay, do they need to call up here and make an appointment or anything, or just is it?
No, we're open 5 days a week. We're closed on Tuesday and Wednesdays. Weekends we open at 8, close at 5, and on weekdays we open at 9 and close at 5.
Okay, well, looks like a lot of fun. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. We're on the final segment here of Panhandle Outdoors. We always appreciate the viewership. Hope you enjoy that little synopsis of what the shooting range can offer. Now, also they do the long range shooting, the pistol shooting. That's sort of on the other end of the range. But on the west wing over there, it's that big round course and all. So we're going to try it out. I'm going to try to take the kids out there. It's an excellent way to shoot. You know, you got them on the ground, you got them in the air, you got them coming at you. It's called sporting clays. Not necessarily skeet or clay, it's just sporting clays, and sort of set up to help the hunters in their pursuit when wing shooting and all. Let's move on. Let's look at fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe. Our times 1:29 to 3:29 a.m. And this evening, exactly from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, right there. Now, you remember last week we had Travis Bassford on the show with FWC, and he brought up a good point that it's been on my mind. In fact, over the weekend, I've just been thinking about this because we talked about good guys and bad guys, and I made a comment that, you know, I've always thought it was just two groups of people, good guys and bad guys. And he brought up a point. It really is 3 groups, and I started thinking about it, and it really makes sense. And they've talked about it in the law enforcement and all, and it's the same situation in all things and all as far as good and bad. But he said really about 80% of our outdoorsmen, he thinks, well, what they consider 80% of outdoorsmen are good, law-abiding. They're going to go, you know, straight by the rule, and I think most of us fall in that category. He said there's about 15% that's going to obey the law, but if they're given an opportunity, if the fish are really biting, they may catch a few more, or if they're coming out of the woods at nighttime and it's a big 12-point buck down there, they may think about it. You know, so, but then there's 5%, and that's a pure bad guys, those 5% right there. So, which is not bad. You got 95%, you know, pretty well doing good, and then you got those 5%. And that's, I told Travis, that's what's keep you a job right there, that 5%. You'll be glad about that. He said, no, it's not. But I did this last night. I was doing some statistics on this. You know how I look things up. So I looked this up. Okay, let's figure this out now. I look on the screen here. If you're looking on the screen, You're looking right in the middle of the page, talking about this saltwater. This is from the FWC website. There's 1,745,000 recreational saltwater licenses sold, which comes out to be $37 million, over $37 million in revenue. Okay, that was last year. And then down the bottom, the saltwater impact brings in $7.6 billion as far as jobs and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I took that number of recreational fishermen, because then I did a percentage. I want to find out how many bad guys we have out of that million. And it's surprising. I just do these things, right? Well, how many out there? So I got my calculator, look here, and I multiplied it. I multiplied it times 0.05, of course, 5%. So we have 87,285 and a quarter of bad guys out there really flat out breaking the law. So that's a lot more than I thought. And I got to thinking about that. And you spread that out over 67 counties. That's a lot. That's a lot of folks breaking the law. Really, that's 87,000 people, just according to statistics here in Florida, who can go out there and it doesn't take but a handful to really. You're talking about red snapper now, and they're going out there and just catch as many as they want to. And here in Bay County, then they're going down and do it in Franklin County and down there around Fort Myers, and they start doing that. That really puts a dent. And you see, when we have license, when we have rules and regulations for that kind of stuff, and then we always go back to the scalloping. And it doesn't take, like we had an incident about 2 weeks ago where that moron was taking those scallops out behind Shell Island, which is a protected area, no limit on that, and big old croaker sack full. Well, you take croaker sack fulls out of all these places that are really hurting as far as scallop population, a couple of croaker sack fulls right before they start spawning. That's what bad guys do. So that's why, and that's how I come up with that number and all. So anyway, I just wanted to show that to you and get those numbers going. All right, the other subject I want to talk to before time ran out, of course, my book, and we'll talk about it on a regular basis here. But you realize 2 weeks from this Thursday is Thanksgiving Day. I mean, can you believe that? It's just time is moving so fast. But we're coming with Thanksgiving. We'll talk a lot about it later, about what we're all thankful for. But a lot of people start their Christmas shopping, and we're going to talk about that too. But a lot of folks, we always try to get something unique and different that people will enjoy. And over the years, I've been so blessed to have gotten so much feedback on this book from different people at different times and all. But what I want to tell you, and that's no new news to you because you've heard me talk about it before, but I do want to say this. This is my final printing of full box. This is my 6th and final printing. I printed 1,000 at a time, and I took an inventory the other night. I have some at my house. That's the only place I keep them, at my house, and I've got less than 400 books left, and they probably won't sell out this Christmas. But by next Christmas, according to what's happened in years past, they would have sold out because they sell good at Christmas, sell good at Father's Day and people's birthdays and all. So anyway, my point being, if you're thinking about getting the book, and a lot of y'all tell me this, I got to get one of these, I got to get one. Well, you do need to go and get one. And if you already have one, then by all means, if you have any kind of friends or family from this area that maybe live somewhere else and all, these books are all over the place, and people are so appreciative and just fascinated with this history. And as I look at it, sometimes I just sit down and thumb through it and look at these old pictures and all. It's just fascinating. But my point is, I want you to go ahead and get them. Now, we have them down at Sunjammers, we have them at C&G, and we have them at Blue Water, and then we have them at a bookstore in Apalachicola. Or if you want one personally autographed to someone personally, I autograph all the books. But if you want to autograph someone personally, you can, okay, here's one here that's autographed. But just call me, and I have some at home. I'd be glad to autograph them and send them to you. But I do want to encourage you to get one. The book is fascinating, and I thumb through it sometimes, like I was saying, and just look at different pictures and all, and tie it in with what things are today. And I always go back a lot of times. See that picture right there, that big old tarpon. And some of these young captains and all and guides, they say, hey, we got tarpon here. Let's go fishing for tarpon and start doing a show on them. Well, this was 100 years ago almost, that this guy named Lee Porter was catching them up there in Lynn Haven at the old Lynn Haven Hotel, and guys were coming down, like people come down to fish now. Well, they were doing it 100 years ago, and they were coming down to staying at Lynn Haven Hotel. They were coming, guess where they came from? Birmingham, Montgomery, and Atlanta, and came down here to go fishing. So there's nothing new about it. There were no limits back then because there were only, not that many people doing it, but there's a huge population of tarpon in this area. And we still do have those tarpon. We don't have them quite that big. That's about a 180-pound tarpon there. So story after story. And I have, I think I've told you, I've been to, I want to say 30-something funerals of the old guys that have passed away since I've interviewed them. But the beauty of all of it is I have some audio tapes of me when I interviewed them. I had the tape recorder right there on the table, and they were telling the story. So I have their voice telling these stories, and I got just volumes of them. And I want to eventually one day donate those to the Historical Museum. I sort of want to get them organized, and I would love to see, if you go to somewhere like Disney or some of these museums and all. If you go to Disney, have the Hall of Presidents where they have the wax figure and all. Wouldn't it be neat to have some of these old fishermen, maybe their bust or something, and actually press a button and hear their voice telling the story about catching those 10,000 mullet one Saturday morning or whatever. So that would be a unique part. That's part of our heritage, part of our history. And I really have this deep down desire to preserve it, as I know a lot of you do also. I know I went to Pro Football Hall of Fame one time, visited in Canton, Ohio in 2001. And I went to the Hall of Fame and had these busts of these different pro football players. And when I was a kid, I'd heard their names, but someone had a foresight to go ahead and interview them. I pressed a button and I heard Bronco Nagurski, the fullback for University of Illinois, way back in the 1930s. He talked about what he did and all. So anyway, that's my inspiration to do those kind of things. Got to wrap it up. I've really enjoyed bringing this to you today, and got a big show lined up tomorrow. As always, we really appreciate your viewership here on Panhandle Outdoors. Y'all are good folks out there, and I appreciate what you do. And so today, go out there and do something good for your fellow man. Have a great day. Enjoy the great outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.